Hello, this is Catholic Dad signing in for episode number 17. Please like or subscribe if you like the contents of these videos. And I was going to talk about something slightly prickly or difficult to talk about today. And why do young women get abortions? And here I'm a man talking about this, and I know that's going to rub people the wrong way. But I'm also a father, a husband, a brother, and I know a lot of women. I care for women in my life, and I think I can weigh in on this. And so, do women want abortions? And that's what I started out with when I was thinking about this today. And the answer is probably no. I mean, it's a horrible surgical procedure at a very minimum, and then never mind, you're actually losing a baby out of it. And so my guess is that women actually don't want abortions. And so I've lived with a lot of women in my life that how difficult it is to get a woman to do something she doesn't want to do. It's really difficult. So that means there must be more than a desire for abortion in there, and there must be a situation in their life where they feel desperate. That's what abortion means, that they're in a desperate situation. So then I started reflecting as Catholic dad here. What would I do if one of my daughters came to me and announced an unwanted pregnancy, and how would I respond? Because I'm kind of the Boy Scout-esque dad, and I would like to have my responses all in a row so I don't hurt or harm anybody. And then I thought about what I would say, and I have this memorized for the future in case it ever happens. But the answer is this, if my daughter came to me, I would say, I love you, and as long as I have air in my lungs, that child and you will be cared for, period. No more questions, no more talking. And then I think that would make a young lady feel better if they had somebody solid on their side, behind their back, supporting and loving them and helping them along the way. Because if you think about an unwanted pregnancy in a young woman, that's got to be one of the scariest moments in a young woman's life, because as a young pregnant woman, if you think about it, you are as weak and vulnerable as you'll ever be in your entire life, with the exception of perhaps being a newborn yourself or on your deathbed. And so to have 1 million women a year or 1.5 million a year to choose abortion, there's something culturally wrong with our society, because there must be 1 to 1.5 million people that are frightened every single year, that are not hearing the same message that I would give to my daughters, that as long as I have air in my lungs, you and your child will be cared for. And so then I started thinking about this, that's how heroes are made, right? Well, what was the definition of a hero? A hero is somebody that does something difficult, hard, arduous, not looking out for their own self-interest, but for the self-interests of other people. And yeah, that's the way heroes are made. And therefore, as a dad, I would essentially put my life on the line for this child and for my daughter, to take away that pain. And really, what would I do to take away that fear and that pain? Literally, I would give my life, so so my daughter would not have to feel pain like that. And now let's think about the young men that participate in this process. Young men, if you're thinking about, if you have a situation where you're part of an unwanted pregnancy, you now have to think about the pain and the suffering that you put that person into. And then what is your response to that person? You now have some great responsibility in your life, and are you willing to say the words, as long as I have air in my lungs, you and that child will be cared for? Because if you do that, you become somebody's automatic hero, right? Because you help them in their most vulnerable state, with your whole life, with your suffering. And now I claim I would give my life to take away that pain, but I'm not even asking you men out there to give your life. I mean, for a young woman, I'm asking you to give your life to a young woman. And that's what real dads do, because you become a hero to the mom-to-be. But then that mom-to-be creates a child, has a child, and then you know what you are? You're a dad, which I was trying to think about. There's so many men in this world that just have babies, and they care for their children, they're loyal to their wives, and they just carry along, and quietly becoming these heroes that nobody ever recognizes. But in those most vulnerable times early in their life, what if they did not choose that pathway, and they walked away, and they abrogated their duty, and they walked from a young woman and placed you in in a position of fear, then potentially that child is placed at great vulnerability, and that woman is too. And so I guess this is a call out to all the young men in the world, that if you ever come into a situation where you have grave moral responsibility, far greater than yourself, which includes the life of an unborn, but also the fear and the fright within the woman, in which you place that fear and fright, it is your absolute divine responsibility to step up and do the right thing. And hopefully, I mean, and this is a massive cultural problem we have in America, or in the world for that matter, is, are the men doing the right thing? And I tell you, if my daughter were in that situation, I would die for her before she had to feel that pain and that suffering. And for the young men in the world, if you place a woman in that situation and you're not willing to give your life for that person, well, then now we're going to have a street brawl. Because, and this is particularly true of my sons, if you're ever in that situation, I'm going to teach you what toxic masculinity looks like if you ever walk away and you leave a young lady in a vulnerable situation like that. Because the fear in their heart to do that deed of abortion must be far greater than any fear that I've ever felt in my entire life. And I will try to place that in your heart if you do that to her, because somebody has to step up and say, do the right thing. And so, boy, that got a little serious there for a second. And so this is a serious, grave topic, but why do women have abortions? And it must be a cultural, and not cultural, it must be just absolute fear and fright that nobody will be there for you and to care for you. And so this is a culture. This isn't just a cry out to the men of the world, but this is also a cry out to the women of the world. We can all come together and hopefully create a culture based upon the young mother and the child, and then that's how families are made, right? That's how people grow up, and that's how culture is made, because culture is not within grown-ups, culture is within little people, and the little people are the ones that pass on the culture to everybody else, and they're the ones that preserve it. So let's get a pro-life culture going out. Let's support the young women of our nation, even when they're in their most tragic states in terms of unwanted pregnancy. They need care and they need love, and they need unconditional care and love. And young men out there, if you want to become a hero, all you have to do is love her, and that's it. And you have to care for her and take care of her. And so there you have it. Catholic Dad signing off. Please like or subscribe if you like these videos. And yeah, this is episode number 17. Pray the daily rosary, and please get to Mass. Thank you, and have a nice night, and God bless.